6 trophies in one season. Shaun does FM, you're the best. Oh, that has a really nice ring to it. Right, score update. Oh, boys. Quick update before the game. Dortmund have lost in Portugal. Big chance for us here to take control of the group. Let's play like European champions. Come on.
Looking for trouble and fights, but you found me. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I'm glad you're someone to rely on, someone to rely on. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I could be someone to rely on, someone to rely on, someone to rely on.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 170 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well and coming up. In today's episode, as you can see on screen, we have 2 away trips in our Champions League group and a great chance to take control of this group as we take on both Oostende and Dortmund after picking up a win in our first game in yesterday's episode against Fylkir HK. As well as that, we'll do a quick wrap up of the end of the domestic league season and we'll check in throughout today's episode on both Fylkir and HK down in the Conference League as well. So if you are looking forward to this episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But here is what the group does look like going into the first game of today's episode. Big news from the pre-match and early kickoff. Fylkir HK have somehow found a way to beat Dortmund in Portugal. So if we do win both games in today's episode, which we probably should be doing, that away trip to Dortmund, certainly the toughest game of this group stage, but we did the job there in the first knockout round of the Champions League when we did win it the last European season. So hopefully we can do the same again, and 2 wins in these next 2 games would certainly take us a long way to finishing on top of this group going into the first knockout round at the start of next week. But before we have a look at our first opposition in today's episode in Oostende, we do just need to wrap up the end of the domestic league season off the back of yesterday's episode, which if you missed, I'll leave a link to in the top right corner. We did still have 3 games that we needed to play to complete that season, and we only needed at that stage 1 point to win the title. However, HK dropped points in their very next game, so we actually already won the title before we played that game off the back of the Malkabikiran final against Lechner Reykjavik, and we picked up a 7-0 win there anyway. 2-0 away at HK. That was with pretty close to our full strength 11 for the last time before they concentrate fully on the Champions League group stage. And then we put out a pretty heavily rotated team for that next game against Villa Reykjavik and still picked up a 4-1 win. So it didn't really matter that HK dropped those points. We would have got the job done against Lechner anyway. But this is what the table did end up looking like. HK just falling away a little bit in form late. They only end up with 47 points. So we pick up the title by 17 points. Yet again, we go through without losing a game in a domestic season. But HK yet again will join us in Champions League football next season, albeit we will be going straight through to the group stages no matter where we finish in the Champions League this season. HK are going to be in a 3rd round league path playoff. It is Nuts KR this time who will be in a Europa League playoff. Fylkir couldn't quite recover from a slow start to the season to grab that 3rd spot. They will be in Conference League qualifying alongside newly re-promoted Akrones. They get back into Europe after their first season back in the top division after they did get relegated a few seasons ago. And Lechner and Fram are the 2 teams who are going down, and we knew that quite some time ago. Villa Reykjavik on their own little island there, it's fair to say, in 10th place, 9 points ahead of Fram and 13 points behind Keflavik. All those teams from 9th place up were in the hunt for one of those European spots right until the last few rounds of the domestic season. But yet again, we pick up the title here in Iceland, still yet to not win the title so far in the save in whatever division we have been in. But today we are focusing solely on the Champions League, and we do start off with a game away at Oostende, who did push Dortmund close on the first match week away from home, albeit after what happened there against Fylkir HK on the early kickoff. Not too sure how strong that form is, but they did push Dortmund close. We need to respect them somewhat, but I'd still like to think this is a team that we can get the job done over. They've been in Europe quite a bit now, have Oostende, picking up the 5 Jupiter Pro Leagues in Belgium, with all of those coming during this Save Universe time. and they are the defending champions of Belgium as well. 3.5-star reputation club, as I said. They've actually spent quite a bit of time in Europe so far in this save, but they should still be a team which we can get the job done over in this upcoming game. Looking at their tactics, no names there that are overly familiar to me. No one overly scary looking there in their lineup, so it should be a team that we can get the job done over, and we can make it hopefully 6 points from 6 going into what looks like the most difficult game of this group stage in the second one of today's episode, away against Dortmund. And as well as that, they are currently just struggling a little bit in the Belgium league, down in 6th, only on 17 points, 8 behind current leaders Sint-Truiden. What does look like a little bit of an interesting lineup there at the top of the Belgian league table. But as I said, this should really be a game that we are capable of winning. We go into this one with no new injury concerns, of course, off the back of losing Onyan Miskic during yesterday's episode. That means that Jonata will step in at left wing for him, but will come back for the team sheet shortly from the Diaz Arena in Belgium as we take on Oostende in the Champions League group stages. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode. There are Oostende playing a 4-2-3-1, as I said. Doesn't look like anyone too scary or threatening in that team. As I said before, the one change from yesterday is that Jonata comes in on the left wing. That means that Han Vos also makes his way onto the bench with that injury to Miskic. That will probably be our lineup for the remainder of the group stage anyway. And as I said, hopefully we can make it 6 from 6 off the back of this one. And just shy of the 10-minute mark, we have our first highlight of this game. We are in the all green. Oostende, despite not being Portuguese, do look like they are today because they are wearing red with green shorts. They pumped that deep as we were briefly on the attack, and they might actually get a chance here as they do hold possession, but a good foot in there from Lassana Doumbia, and we try and strike here on the counter-attack, play that one forward to Jonata. Finally, he's going to get a bit of a run in this first team, and we're going to give that to him a few seasons ago, but unfortunately he did get injured. This is his chance with that injury to Miskic, but some good short passing here outside the box. Radenko Krolo in a lot of space will square that one for Adam Saki, puts that away in the bottom right corner. That is his 38th goal of the season, and just like that, the first highlight, we do make it 1-0 here, and that is a dream start for us. After only 10 minutes, Krolo, given lots of space here down the right-hand side, puts this one into the mixer. A simple tap-in for Saki, and that makes it 1-0 early. And we have to go forward about 15 minutes off the back of that opening goal for our next highlight is a goal kick to Oostende, and we do win the ball back off it. Basaroge with that header gets it out to Jonata, who makes his way down the left-hand side, just takes his time, given a little bit of space, puts that ball in for Bayer, back out to Jonata. Herrera in there for Bayer, and we just hold the ball here outside of the Oostende box, and we get that one forward to Basaroge. Him and Ramadan playing a little bit of 1-2, and now it is Louis Herrera who is on the ball. Gay, nice ball over there for Bayer. Will square this again, far post, and this time Augustine Agatigere will put that one home, very similar to the first goal that we scored, but this time the ball comes from the other side too. Good chances there, simple tap-ins, and that makes it 2-0 Völsungur with about 20 minutes left of this first half. Some good patient play, nice ball over the top there for Bayer, and as I said, simple tap-in there for the Argentinian to make it 2-0. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous goal, we are back down the Oostende end here for a corner. We put that one into the mixer, can't quite link up with Denali, but Ali Ramadan will unleash one there into the top right corner. That is definitely one of the best goals one of our centre-backs has scored so far in the save. Just cranks that into the top right corner. Must have retreated a little bit off the back of that initial corner, and Doumbia finds him in a ton of space. What a strike that is, and just like that, 3-0 with about 15 minutes left of this first half. And again, not too long off the back of that previous goal, it is another highlight here with the scoreline at 3-0 just past the half-hour mark, and Basaroge shifts that one on to Ali Ramadan, takes his time and starts to inch his way towards the halfway line, and yet again, we are on the attack. Nice ball over the top there for Adam Saki, comes off the post, but falls very kindly to Augustine Agatigere. He picks up a double, and we are on absolute fire here in the first half. Good to see us finally kicking into gear a little bit sooner this current European season, because so far it's taken us about a half or so to really hit our form in these games. But today we are right on it from the start, and that makes it 4-0 with still 13 minutes left of this first half. And just a few minutes shy here of half-time, we do have a free kick. Doumbia, for some reason, tries to put that far post to Ali Ramadan, but it's quite a low ball. and they deal with it there, do Oostende, but they clear it, and we are back on the attack. Denali will just keep possession here, despite the efforts of Oostende, albeit Jani is able to get the ball back there for Oostende, and they might get a chance here on the attack just before half-time, albeit we do get up in their face, ball over the top there, and Radenko Krolo is able to get position back for us. And can we make it 5-0 before half-time with this highlight? So far, all of the highlights have resulted in goals to Völsungur. Can that continue? Herrera tries to put a ball in behind there. It is cut out by the Oostende defence, albeit Basaroge wins the ball back off of that clearance. An interesting slide tackle there from Kane, but Jonada does keep possession, still on the attack. Radenko Krolo again in a lot of space. It's another square ball, and Adam Saki this time will pick up a double, and that makes it 5 first half highlights, 5 goals, and 3 of them now have been quite similar to that one. This time again, it is Radenko Krolo, quite similar to the first goal that we scored in a lot of space there down the right-hand side, and Adam Saki just sneaks that inside that far post, and that should make it 5-0 going into halftime, well and truly dominating Oostende in this one. They are yet to fire a shot. We haven't got off that many shots, but 6 of them have been on target, and 5 of them have found the back of the net. So that is a very good half, no changes needed, and we'll get back underway shortly with that 5-0 lead. And that's full time in this one. Absolutely nothing of note there happening throughout the second half. I have made notes. We took off Herrera at the 55-minute mark for Bokic because he was on a little bit of an average rating there. As you can see, 6.5, and also not too long off the back of that, Basaroge down to a red heart. Sabasiki came on for him, played all right, and then with just under 10 minutes left, Lasana Dumbia went down to a red heart, so Bruno Costa came on for him, but nothing too threatening in the highlights that did happen throughout that second half. So with that scoreline, we've just skipped to the end, and we end up picking up a very comfortable 5-0 win. Nothing really happening in that second half, as I said, but we did all the damage in that first half, and that gives us those 6 points from 6 that we wanted going into that big game of this group stage against Dortmund, a Dortmund team coming right off the back of a loss to Famalicão and having had a player sent off in that one as well. So they might be missing one of their better wing-back options for that game, but a very good performance, especially in that first half. And as you can see, that gives us a nice little boost there over both Famalicão and Dortmund, especially with that goal differential. And if we can do the job over Dortmund in the second game of today's episode, that will give us a nice little gap at the halfway stage of the group stage, and still with 2 home games in those last 3 as well. But we'll come back shortly, do a quick check-in on how Fylkir and HK got on in the second match week of the Conference League before we preview that game against Dortmund in front of the Yellow Wall. And we've gone forward a couple of weeks off the back of that nice win there against Oostende, about to take on Dortmund. And as I said, what was probably our most difficult game of our group stage this season. But before then, we're checking in on HK and Fylkir down in the Conference League. What happened to those guys on their second match week? Unfortunately, HK tough pass there at home against Leeds, and it was made all the tougher when our former man and their club captain, Mikhail Bedrzicki, got sent off after only 18 minutes around that. Leeds United scored 3 goals. So at the moment, HK second bottom of the group. That is because, of course, they did pick up a point yesterday away at Lyngby. But hopefully, in their next match at home to Zelina, they can catch up and hopefully get themselves back inside that top 2 to try and make their way through to the knockouts of the Conference League for a second straight season. Meanwhile, up in Group C, a massive upset that I am quite happy about. Fylkir now top of the group off the back of somehow defeating Bayer Leverkusen 2-0 in Iceland. That is one heck of a result for Fylkir. That one sends them top of the group after they, of course, lost their first game in this group away in Austria yesterday to Rheindorf Altax. That is a massive 3 points there for Fylkir, 3 unexpected points, which does send them top of that group, albeit that is still a very even group now with all of the teams having picked up a win. So hopefully they can make the most of that in their next game as they do travel to Bulgaria to take on Botev Plovdiv. But maybe Fylkir are going to impress me just a little bit more than I had anticipated. That's a very good 3 points there as they pick up a 2-0 win against Bayer Leverkusen. And hopefully we are about to continue to pull the misery on the German teams as we take on Dortmund, a Dortmund team who might be reeling a little bit off the back of that loss in Portugal. They probably need a win here to try and keep their hopes alive of topping this group. Otherwise, they will be in a bit of trouble, being 6 points behind us and still having to travel to Iceland to take us on. In tomorrow's episode, a quick look at Dortmund before we do go into this one. Same manager who was in charge when we took them on earlier this year in the first knockout round of the Champions League, and it is a very similar looking team as well, so not too much change from when we last did take them on, though of course in that first league, which was in front of the yellow wall, they did get an early red card, which no doubt affected that game. And then in the second leg of that one, we did rotate our team quite a bit with that comfortable lead, which we did have. So this one might be a little bit closer than we are anticipating, but Dortmund should be a team that we're capable of beating at this stage of the save, especially as they also, alongside the other teams who are in our group, do seem to be struggling just a little bit domestically at the moment, all the way down in 7th, just outside the European qualification spots, certainly a lot lower than you would expect that Dortmund team to be already. Bayern Munich do look to be in a very, very strong position to be picking up the Bundesliga for this season with a 5-point lead after only 8 games, and they are yet to drop a point, while Dortmund have only picked up 3 wins so far from their 8 games, but it is in front of the yellow wall, so this, as I said, might be our most challenging game of this group stage, but we'll come back shortly and hopefully make it 9 from 9 and get a good gap at the top of that group at the halfway stage as we go to the yellow wall and take on Dortmund. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. Here are Dortmund playing the exact same formation as they played against us in the first knockout round this season. As you could see before, not in the greatest of form. We have got exactly the same squad as we used for that previous game against Oostende, and hopefully we can pick up a similar type of result, and as I said, get a good little gap there at the halfway stage at the top of our group. And only 3 minutes into this one, we have an early corner which Doumbia puts into the mixer. Filippo Donelli jumps like an absolute salmon and heads the ever-living bejesus out of that ball and gets it past the Dortmund goalkeeper. And just like that, we already have a lead here in front of the yellow wall. Donelli, that is a powerful header. The goalkeeper didn't see where that one went, and already that's 1-0 Völsungur. And up to the 8-minute mark now, we have a free kick as we try and play our way out from the back, but a great start there with that header to Filippo Donelli, and hopefully we can continue to put the foot down here as Jonata makes his way in behind the defence, plays the ball over the top there for Agategere on the edge of the box, tries to put that one into the mixer, but Gabriel Madrid, who of course was the player who got red carded early in the first leg of that first knockout round, gets possession back. We get it back briefly, give it away, and then Dortmund get robbed by Radenko Krolo. Good chance here for Adam Saki, but it unfortunately straight at the goalkeeper. The defender clears it. Still 1-0 Völsungur after only 10 minutes. And we go forward to just shy of the half-hour mark for our next highlight, and yet again a corner, but this time we can't quite link up with Guy or Donelli, but Lissana Doumbia is going to get there before the Dortmund player, so we keep possession here inside the half of Dortmund, and they do just about commit a bad foul there, but we do keep possession, and now Basaroge forward to Agategere. Nice ball there to Adam Saki, just enough weight on it to get it around the goalkeeper, who comes out of his goal and just shy of the half-hour mark. That is a nice 2-0 lead to have here away in Germany. Already looks like we're well and truly on top of this Dortmund team, who are struggling this season, as are most of the teams in our group. Nice ball there from Doumbia, I believe that was, and Saki just puts that around the goalkeeper. 2-0 Völsungur after 30 minutes. And we go up to the 40-minute mark for our next highlight. A goal kick yet again as we try and play our way out from the back, and we do get that forward now to Ali Ramadan and out to Louis Herrera. Takes his time on the ball and plays this one up to Jonata, just holds things up back to Herrera, and we get that forward now to Adam Saki. Can we get on the front foot as we start to potentially get an overlap here? Agategere finds Krolo in a lot of space. He'll find Agategere from a tight angle, tries to beat the goalkeeper. An actual good save there though from the Dortmund goalkeeper. The defender will clear that out, and still 2-0, only a few minutes shy of half time. But before I can wrap that one up, we do have one more highlight here before we do get into the sheds. Agategere squares that one, and Ali Ramadan will pick up his second goal of today's episode. That one a lot simpler than the goal that he did score against Oostende earlier. Right place, right time, and absolutely burgles that one. I think it was off of Adam Saki. We get inside the final third off the back of that throw. It was actually Bayer who was there to try and tap that home, but Ramadan does the job, and that will give us a very nice 3-0 lead going into the shed. You would imagine indeed that is the case as nothing else happens in this first half. Very happy with how things are going at the moment. Dortmund offering a bit more than Oostende did but nothing that we have seen so far. So we'll leave things yet again the way that they are as we kick the second half off with that 3-0 lead. And nearly 10 minutes into the second half, we have our first highlight of it, a throw-in deep inside our own half, but we keep possession from it. Basaroge will play that one back to Filippo Denali and finds Ali Ramadan, the goal scorer, in a lot of space, does a back flick there, and it's probably not the greatest option as it does put us under a little bit of pressure, and Dortmund will get their first real chance here of the game. Nice ball that for Perlaza, but he misses the target, so we nearly cost ourselves a goal there, but it's still 3-0, 10 minutes into the second half. And up to the 64-minute mark now, Lassana Doumbia playing very well, his 2 assists, but we're going to take him off down to a red card. I feel like this game is pretty well under control. Bruno Costa will come on for him and get some game time here inside this last half hour, just a bit under that. And we actually have a highlight immediately off the back of making that substitution before it can take place, and it is Dortmund here trying to clear the ball, and they do find Madrid there on a yellow card. Stroikens plays that back, and now Algatem with a decent chance, but that forces a good save that out of Volny. Somewhat teleports there to get possession back for us, so a decent chance there for Dortmund, but still 3-0 with just over 20 minutes left. And we make our way forward now to the 69-minute mark, and again we have a throw from a very similar place to where we had the first highlight of the second half, and again we look to play out from the back this time, keeping it down that right-hand side, and Agatigere, quick 1-2, and we get that one forward to Adam Saki, plays that one back for Radenko Krolo, and now Basaroge all the way back to Filippo Denali, but controlling this game well so far after a very good first half. Yet again, 2 games quite similar to each other. We try and play a ball over the top there for Adam Saki, but the Dortmund defenders do cut that out. Another decent chance here for Stroikens, but that's a good slide tackle that time from Filippo Denali. So Dortmund are getting chances in the second half, but haven't been able to make the most of them, and that leaves it at 3-0 with 15 minutes left. And at this time, we're going to make our last 2 subs as well. Jonata down to a red heart. Hans Voss can come on for him, and also Louis Herrera, again, not on that good of a rating either. Bokek will come on for him. That's all of our subs used, and we have a 3-0 lead with 15 minutes left. And we go forward to the 82-minute mark for our next highlight. It's a free kick here for Dortmund. They put that far post, but Ali Ramadan will deal with that. But Dortmund do reclaim position. They're actually having quite a few highlights here in the second half. They try and play a ball forward there for Algatam, but Vollen is there to tidy things up. This is the German international goalkeeper in front of a home crowd here in front of the yellow wall, and Denali will play that one forward there for Krolo, and a nice ball there from Bruno Costa for Adam Saki. Good chance here to make it 4, but this time it's a good save from the Dortmund goalkeeper. 3-0 with only 5 minutes left. And just about to enter injury time in this game, we have a late highlight here still with that 3-0 lead, so we should be making it 9 points from 9 to start off this year's Champions League, albeit, as I mentioned yesterday, in what has proven to be quite a suitable group for us. And we're on the attack here. Good chance for Hans Voss to get on the score sheet, but that's a really good save that time from the Dortmund goalkeeper. Still 3-0. And we have a quite long, meaningless highlight off the back of that previous one, and that is full time. Yet another convincing performance, albeit as you saw during that second half, Dortmund certainly had quite a few chances throughout, but we did enough of a job there in the first half with goals to Denali, Saki and Ramadan. So 2 of our centre-backs both picking up goals, and we pick up a 3-0 win, as I said. Quite similar type of performance to the first game of today's episode yet again, but we don't mind. That means that we do make it 9 points from 9 come the halfway stage of this group, and having already gone to Dortmund to take them on as well. We have to play them back in Iceland in tomorrow's episode, and as you can see, 6 points in front of them. Familiar Cow could only manage a draw there at home against Oostende, so that is a nice 5-point gap at the top of the group, which we do already have. So in a very strong position here after 3 games. We'll come back shortly, check in yet again on Fylkir and HK in the Conference League before we do wrap things up for today's episode. And here is our check-in of the other Icelandic teams at the halfway stage of the Conference League. Fylkir, unfortunately, actually disappointingly draw away in Bulgaria. I only say disappointingly because one of the opposition players got red carded early in the second half. They then went ahead at the 66-minute mark, but gave away a penalty with 12 minutes left, and the Bulgarian team did put that away. So it does feel like they potentially missed out on a win there, which would have put them in quite a strong position in that group, but they are still inside the top 2, so they are still in a qualification spot, 2 points behind the Bayer Leverkusen team, who they did beat on that second match week. But Fylkir doing a decent job, certainly a lot better than they did come at this time last season. Hopefully they can kick on come the latter half of this group, especially in tomorrow's episode where they take on Botev Plovdiv yet again, but this time in Iceland. Hopefully they can win that game like they did earlier on today against Bayer Leverkusen. And we go down to Group G to check out on how HK are doing, and unfortunately are still just struggling a little bit. Could unfortunately only pick up a draw at home there against MSK Zelina. So Zelina continue to hold on to that second qualifying spot in that group, as you'd expect Leeds United running away with things. But HK at the moment, just a little bit disappointing there, dropping points at home, albeit 2 draws and 1 loss from their first 3 games. Not the worst thing at all. Hopefully they can get back on the front foot come the second half of this group and might be able to pick up some sneaky points away from home tomorrow against Zelina when they do travel to Slovakia. So down in the Conference League, HK just a little bit disappointing at the moment. I think it is fair to say, but Fylkir are doing a good job. That big win earlier on today against Bayer Leverkusen, and that does mean they are currently second in their group and might be able to reach the first knockout round of the Conference League, where they would take on a team which has finished third in the group stages of the Europa League. But that will do it for today's episode. A quick recap of what's happened in our group. We are 3 from 3 and 5 points clear of Famalicão and 6 points clear of Dortmund. So things are going very well. But if you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow it's the rematch against Dortmund, this time at my arena. Hopefully with a win there, we might even go as far as being pretty close to securing our spot in the first knockout round for the start of next week. And off the back of that, we will have our end of season review as well. So that's what's coming up in tomorrow's episode. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.